Well, hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Secrets to Real Estate Investing by House Flip Masters. And we have such an exciting guest for you today. I have so much admiration and respect for this man. He has flipped over 600 houses and he's currently doing over 100 houses a year on systems. He uses automation so that he can do things in his life besides flipping houses full time. He is coaching hundreds of students and has fantastic programs to help people learn more about flipping on automation. And with that, welcome Justin Williams.
What's going on, Holly? That was an awesome interview. You can, not interview, intro. That was an awesome, you can do that anytime for me.
Okay, I'll follow you around and introduce you wherever we go, right? That'll be fun. Well, hey, for those people that don't know you yet, why don't you give us a little bit of background on your story and how you got where you are today?
Sure. I was born on November 15th, 1980. It was a dark night. I was born breech, weighed 11.6. Can you believe that?
Oh, your poor mother.
I know. Fast forward 20 some odd years, was playing football at BYU, started a business when I was in college, a satellite dish business. I was going door to door, had the entrepreneurial seizure, and thought I can do this better than these guys. I want to make 3 times what I'm making. Started my own business. Long story short, a year later, when I thought I'd be a millionaire, I ended up with $120,000 of debt, broken partnership, had to let go of a lot of my staff, and it was just not a lot of fun. Not where I thought I would be in my life. You know, my wife had counted on me. We had a 6-month-old at the time by now, and we had to move to Bakersfield, California, and our 6-month-old slept in the closet of a 2,000 square foot home that we shared with like 10 other people. It was crazy. So
exciting times. Okay, so then what happened next?
That's pre-real estate.
Out of this hole.
Yeah, so I went door to door, sold the heck out of satellite dish systems for the next 6 months. Pretty much got out of the hole, but then got into real estate, which really helped us get out of the hole. Didn't happen right away. It took 7 months to get our first deal. A lot of work, a lot of crazy action. It wasn't like 7 months of learning and then take action. It was like learning, taking crazy action. 7 months, finally got our first deal. And the rest was history, pretty much. Started doing deals after that on a pretty regular basis. Had another major setback actually in 2010 as the short sell market changed. We moved. Didn't have a lot of success. We were about to have baby number 3. Once again, baby's coming. Not a lot of money to feed the babies. And decided I was going to get into rental properties. So tried that out for about 3 months. Ended up 4 months actually. Got 12 rental properties. Had no money. Wasn't making any money. Decided to sell 4 of those rental properties. Made more money than we needed for a year from those 4 rental properties. And I thought, maybe there's something to this. And that's when it hit me. Why can't I have a passive business that makes a lot of money? You know, people said you either flip and have a job or you have rental property and have a passive business, but you don't make a lot of money. So I thought, why not do both? You know, I'd read books like The 4-Hour Work Week and E-Myth, and people told me you couldn't have a passive house flipping business, but I wanted to prove them wrong. And that was my goal. And in 2011, we did 60 houses. The year after that, we did 120. Made our first 7 figures. It was pretty crazy. We went from 1 year where our tax returns showed like 40,000. The next year was multiple 6 figures and then 7 figures after that. And when we qualified for our home, our mortgage guy, whatever the lender, whatever he's called, they were like, what in the world did you do? Because they saw 3 years of income. We had to have 2 years before we could qualify. And they're like, how'd you go from 40? Anyway, it's pretty hilarious conversation.
Yeah. So did he say, teach me what you do, or I want to do what you do, or no?
Yeah, pretty much. But of course, you know, he didn't really do anything about it. Was very intrigued. So.
Yes. There's plenty of people that think they want to do it, but very few people that will take action and do it. Huh?
Yep. It's very true.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business model? I mean, we've alluded to it, that it's an automated system, but maybe you could talk about how many people work for you and what you do and how many hours a week you spend doing it now.
Sure. So I have Vanessa, as you were mentioning before this call, who basically runs that entire system, if you will, the whole entire house flipping business. She oversees everybody. So she basically has 2 assistants. And then I have Kale, who is my acquisitions manager. And his Actually, the only thing that he focuses on is the direct marketing aspect. Vanessa still deals with any wholesaler properties, anything we get from agents, because even doing the direct marketing is such a big job. So I just want Kel to oversee that. Just today, him and I were talking, because last year we bought a lot of houses from wholesalers, but this year we're transitioning into doing a lot of our own direct marketing. So I talked to him just this morning. We're ready to hire someone to help him take calls. That would be a VA, and then get someone on the ground in one of the outside markets that we're working in to help out with that. So
cool. So when you say doing direct marketing, does that mean you're sending out mailers, or are you doing Google ads, or what?
Yeah, we do both. We do mailers, Google ads. We started a bandit sign campaign. And those are the three main marketing things that we do. And then of course we buy from wholesalers, and we have some agent connections that we do at work as well.
Interesting. And what would you say is, I guess if you're doing all three, they're all three fruitful, but is there one that's like for sure that you'd recommend to someone that's starting out?
I actually, just in the last few days, I've been working on this flow chart that it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. I think when we reopen the doors to house flipping formula, we're going to use that as kind of a, what do they call it? An opt-in braille? I'll just say what it is, right?
Yeah.
This is good for all you guys to be learning like these more in-depth marketing strategies that you see Holly and myself using, because I think that is where real estate will eventually go, where you need to know those things. So anyway, so the idea is to give people a really valuable thing. They opt into my list so I can continue to build a relationship with them. So the thing that we're working on right now, it's a flow chart, and then we're going to have like a guide that it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. And the reason why I did this is because I've been analyzing a lot lately. I have a high-end mastermind group as well, and I just got done with that meeting a few weeks ago. And some people in my group the goal for everyone in the group is to go basically from 6 to 7 figures. Some people in the group are buying a lot of houses on the MLS still. And then there's some people who are crushing it with direct mail. That's their main thing. Some people are doing bandit signs. Some people are doing online. So it really depends on your situation. So I'll go into this a little bit. It's not just a one-size-fits-all answer. And it's really interesting. Whenever I get someone one-on-one, I'm able to tell them exactly what they need to be doing based on their circumstance. So my goal in creating this flow chart and this guide is when we speak in generalities, though, it's so hard because but you're supposed to do this, right? So the goal is to make it as custom as possible to the person based on their situation. So it depends on lots of things. Depends on your location. Are you in an extremely competitive market? Like Holly and I are in Southern California. It's extremely competitive. Mm-hmm. So what we might do would be a little bit different versus what someone else would do. There are some secondary markets where you can still buy houses on the MLS. For me, I don't spend a lot of time working the MLS. Maybe you do. I don't. Do you work the MLS? No. Okay. Yeah. So I don't spend my time there. I've backed out of trustee sales. Are you still doing trustee sales or not? Not so much.
We did one a couple of weeks ago for the first time in years.
All right. Maybe I need to get back there. I'm just
you wouldn't want to buy where we bought. It's definitely a third-area market. Not even a secondary market. Totally. It's way out there. So.
Yeah, it's not my focus. I'm joking around. But so for some people, there's someone else in my group who does trustee sales and they crush it in their area. And if you can do that, that's low. I mean, I guess trustee sales isn't low hanging fruit unless you have a lot of money and experience and are okay with taking the risk. But you and I both know that if that was available, we'd be all over it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a high stakes, high risk game. But once you have your system in place for it, it's a system and you can do it. I mean, that's how we got our 100 houses. So.
Exactly. You can buy house after house after house, right? So if the MLS works for you, boom, don't focus on anything else. Just do that. If trustee sales work and you are able to take on that risk and you have capital or access to capital, that's a fantastic way. But that's pretty competitive in a lot of areas. So the next things you have are things like direct mail, online marketing, and bandit signs. And then you have what I call brute force marketing, which is just what you're really good at. I mean, well, you're good at everything, but you're really good at networking, right?
Yep.
And for a lot of people, it may not be considered brute force for you because you are good at it and you like it. For a lot of people, it's brute force, right? It doesn't take a lot of money you got to get out there. You got to network with people. So if you don't have a lot of capital, you want to hit the streets hard. It's a numbers game, right? You got to talk to a lot of people. You got to sift through a lot of dirt to find the gold. So you got networking, driving for dollars. That's if you have a low budget. Bandit signs are kind of in between. I like bandit signs because it's a very high ROI. We will find someone, pay them about $1.50 to put up each sign. After getting the signs and everything, you're about $3 to $4 total, including paying the person and the signs and the stakes and everything. We use an app called Simple Crew, which is an easy way for us to track where they're putting them. And what we found is the ROI, what it costs per deal is significantly lower for bandit signs, and the amount of calls we have to go through is generally less as well. So not everyone likes bandit signs though, right? We all have our things, but you got to buy the right ones. You got to, we could do a whole call on bandit signs, right? But that's just one example if you're kind of in the middle. Now, if you have access to capital, you want to take things to the next level, you want to play big, then yeah, you're going to have a pretty intense direct marketing campaign and or direct mail and or internet marketing type campaign. So, yeah. So it depends.
Awesome.
Really.
They opened the floodgates there.
they all really work. And if you're in a competitive market, like you can still do this business. And if you want to do it in another area, do it in another area. I buy in other areas. One of my coaching partners, Andy McFarland, he's in 3 different markets. You're not a tree, as he says often, like move, be careful if you're flipping. I've flipped a lot of houses outside of our market, and I've done really well on some, and I've done not really well on some. So you just want to be extremely careful if you're going to flip outside of a market. I pick one area, get to know it really well, have boots on the ground, have everything you need there, and do that. Don't buy in like 10 markets like I did last year. It's not the best idea, especially if you're newer at this business.
Right. Well, one thing that helped you survive, I know some people, they put all their capital, all their money in one deal. I knew this guy had spent $800,000 on a house in Laguna Niguel, and then he lost money on it. So with you buying houses in other markets, you had plenty of risk diversified, so it was okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have this thing I share that's it's 7 ways to mitigate or minimize risk. I don't know if I'll know all of them, but a lot of times people fear causes us to freeze in our tracks. And in real estate, there can be a lot of fear because people have heard stories about this and that and the other, but it's just a lack of education. If you understand the things that you can do to minimize or mitigate risk or manage your risk based on your situation, then it really isn't that much risk involved. For example, if you're worried about risk, you can focus more on wholesaling. Other things you can do is do joint ventures, especially with experienced people who know the business a little. They might be a little further on in the business and have some capital, and they can work with you. If you work with hard money lenders, they're going to often double check your numbers. So those are other things that you can do. There's lots of things you can do to minimize. One of the things I love doing is buying houses. When I was on my journey to buy 100 rental properties, these were my thoughts when I decided not to buy those rental properties, because there's a part of me that really wanted them. I thought, you know what? Worst case scenario, I'm going to make a ton of money flipping all these houses. I'm going to buy houses that fit rental property criteria. And if I get stuck with those, well, now I have my rental properties, but I also have, several $100,000 or a couple $1 million as well on top of that. So
smart. Yeah, that's really great for, I find a lot of people that enter this arena are worried about risk, and the analytical people, especially like the science-minded analytical people, they're super worried about risk, but those were some awesome solutions to mitigate the risk and how you can get in without risking your entire life savings. Say you have 100 or 200 or 300,000, you don't just buy one house and hope it works. But start small. Don't
become a deal. If you can get deals under contract, you can win at this business. Period.
Yep.
You just get it figured out from there.
Yep. Well, that's like a mic drop statement. There you go.
Thanks for coming. This was great.
No, I got many more questions.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't get off that easy.
All right, I got my pen back.
All right. So,
I don't want to drop my mic. It's like $300. So.
I know. And you got more important things to share on that mic. You can that. Okay, so let's talk about financing. Like maybe you can talk about financing opportunities for like someone who's brand new versus someone who's experienced, and someone like, what are you doing for financing your deals today?
Sure. First, know that money is everywhere. And if you don't think it is, you got to work on your mind, because you just don't think it is, but it is. It's everywhere. Okay. So financing, it's kind of been a cycle for me. I started out wholesaling, and obviously I'm assuming all your listeners know what wholesaling is, so I don't need to get into that, right?
Well, let's just do a quick definition.
Okay.
If it's
And that
someone's
is
first time.
financing. You're basically getting another investor to finance your deal, but he's doing it through buying you out, right?
Right.
So, but he does get financed. The whole thing gets fulfilled. He takes it to retail, whatever. You eliminate your risk and you get the deal financed. That's how I started out. After doing that for a few years, I mean, the market was going down and I was still making money, had no risk. And I was like, I don't know what everyone's so worried about. Like I had no risk, none of my own money tied up, nothing. So it was all good. Then I started doing, got one private money lender in 2010 and did a flip with him. That's as I was starting to learn how to flip the regular way, actually rehab the house. I remember my first like actual rehab was super basic, but I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, like it was, anyways, it was like a carpet and paint job, but I didn't know what to do and I was freaking out. So, but on that deal, I got a private money lender. He lent me like $150,000 at like 12%. So he was my first private money lender. But I felt like it was going to be hard to get private money. I was like, oh, and it's weird. I didn't get any hard money at that time. I didn't know much about hard money. But I got when I started doing higher volume after the rental properties were private money, all of them. And then I got a JV partner. He saw some of the deals that I had done. He saw the houses that I flipped. And he basically gave me, I don't want to say an endless supply of money, but he's like, yeah, I could do at least $1 million for now. And like, if you find that right JV partner and you know, they put all the money up, you split the profits 50-50, once again, no money out of pocket for you. You do all the grunt work, but you don't take on all this risk. Okay. Now, once again, you don't want to find some rich guy who doesn't know anything about real estate. You're brand new and put them at risk like that, right? You want to just be thoughtful about how you go about that. If you don't go buy like $1 million homes and you're going to build these mansions and you've never done real estate in your life, like try to take care of them. Make sure you're keeping them in a good position. So wholesaling, JV partners. And then after a while, I started thinking, you know, I'm paying these JV guys a lot of money. The annualized return was probably at least 25% or more. And I was like, I think I'm going to go do some hard money. And now I have some of my own money, so I can kind of use that as well. So then we started doing a lot of hard money mixed with either my own capital or gap funding through other private money lenders at like 12% is what we were paying. So that was kind of how we financed our deals for quite a while. And now it's really interesting. We've really been moving into kind of eliminating the hard money. The private money lenders are growing. Our money is growing. So we're eliminating why pay points and junk fees if you don't have to, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like we're almost to the point where we have hardly any hard money left that we're using. We don't use JV partners, using mainly private money with our own capital as well. And after that the next plan is to move everyone down. I have 10 to 12% right now. Move everyone down to 10. All new people start paying them 8, and just keep working it that way. It's just supply and demand, right? The needs aren't as strong. Our capital's growing. And then what's crazy is I'm even starting to consider lending some of my own money. Just a little, it's just like I'm on the teetering edge, right? So I'm just showing people like the evolution of this business.
Right.
You know, a lot of times people are like, oh, you look where you're at. And I'm like, I didn't start there though. I just started hustling and going out and knocking doors, like doing whatever it took. I had no money. I had negative money. Going out and driving for dollars, knocking doors, networking, doing whatever it took. I wanted this. You could not hold me back. And that's the attitude you've got to have as you're getting started. And then eventually that led into having a little bit of capital and then working with other people, and then just to the point now where I might be able to lend money pretty soon. So
that's great. I think my experience almost mirrors yours. I mean, we flipped a piece of land to start with a chunk of money, but soon after that we had big time money partner where we did JV things. And then we did like, oh, let's leverage and do hard money too. Let's do more and more deals. When you get other people's money, you can do a lot more deals than if you're just working with a smaller basket. And yeah, we're the same thing. Private money, love it. And let's define private money in case people don't know what that is, because you talk about points and fees. So difference between a hard money lender that's a company versus private money, and who's private money? Who is that?
Sure. And hard money lenders usually call themselves private money lenders, but we all know the truth.
Yes.
Basically, they're more institutionalized. They're a company, like you said. They usually will charge points and interest and junk fees. And stuff like that. So, but the good thing about hard money is it's abundant. I mean, you can get pretty much as much of it as you want. Maybe not as much of as you want on every deal, but you can get as much of it as you want. You know, private money lenders on the other hand sometimes have to be a little more educated. It takes a little more time. But literally, like, I'm to the point where I sometimes either turn people down or just don't get really excited. And it's like, whatever. Not 2 days don't go by when someone doesn't reach out to me wanting to lend me money.
I know. I think I was one of those people. I have some kids' college money hanging out, so it's a little trickier to do. I'm like, oh, let me place it with someone I trust. Who do I think of? You, of course.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, I know I'm way down on the list. Maybe if I'm lucky, you know, I'll get in on your.
No, you're not down. We should talk again. I don't remember.
No, but I mean, it's a great opportunity for people who have. I mean, I recommend that they have some experience too. Yeah, if you're really comfortable and confident, you could go to someone and ask them for their money. But we had a lot of deals under our belt before I then accepted private money investors, because people, they do come to you. They say, hey, do you take investors? And I say, well, yes, I do. And this is how we do it. And it is nice that you don't pay points and fees like with hard money lenders. And I think you, like me, when we just keep, a lot of times we just keep their money rolling.
Yep,
and so happy to get that monthly check.
Keep it rolling. I mean, unless they need it back, I never give it back. I just keep it on every house, keep it going. Now, you mentioned like maybe don't take it unless you have experience. I would just use the same rules of risk aversion that you want to use for yourself. So, for example, maybe if you can have some of your own skin in the game at the beginning as you're learning, great, do that. Or maybe just make sure that the deal's awesome, or it could be a rental property, or that they have experience, right? Or start wholesaling. This business is all about getting your foot in the door, like just getting that little crack in there, right?
Working it in.
Wedge it open. You just wedge it open. I mean, you can be out there bird dogging for someone. You can be partner with someone, like whatever it takes. When I first started my first 7 deals, I gave 50% of like 4 of them to this one lady that I could just like work with, like hands-on. I did all of the work, and they were wholesale deals. So it wasn't like she was putting up the capital or anything. It was just so it was like my own insurance to make sure I knew what the heck I was doing. And some people might say, oh, you gave up a lot of money, but it was well worth it to me. It was like I was getting paid to learn.
Awesome.
Right? That's the way I looked at it, because I knew that this would make me wealthy. So I was willing to put in that time and effort and give up some of those that profit to get my foot in that door and then blow it open. All right.
I love it. No, it's so true. Well said. Yeah. And I just get worried for people that think they know more than they really do, and they're going to take their parents' retirement fund, all their money, and go throw it in a house and then lose it.
Be careful. I have lost lots of money on houses. I've lost 6 figures on 2 houses. Isn't that crazy?
Oh! But you've made more than that. So like
I've made
whole sum total, you make way more.
And those risks I took because I knew I could. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that to scare people. I say that just so people know, like, you can lose money. Like, be careful. These were high-end properties, and I'd made a lot of money on other high-end properties. But you just it's so hard, because you and I both know people who. There's one group of people who doesn't take like enough action and is scared all the time. And there's another group who just takes stupid action.
I know. But the stupid action people, I would say, are few and far between. I don't see a lot of them. I agree. You see one and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have helped them before they jumped into that. So and there's probably nothing that you can't come back from. I mean, look at, you started out with debt and then you worked your way up to.
No, it's true.
Awesome. So
just don't buy like 100-year-old house that's like cost $1 million and it's gonna have a million things wrong with it. You got to add on like for your first property, you know, like, and has margins. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever want to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think
I don't ever want to do that
advice when you're telling people either work with a hard money lender that's going to check your numbers, or a JV partner with experience, or I mean, it would be worth it to pay someone like Justin or me. Say, look over my numbers, look over this deal, give me, an hour or two of your time, and is it worth doing? Find someone experienced that can save you if you're worried. Here's
the truth, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a coach, but I'm also not going to say it. I'm going to not say it because I'm a coach. Sometimes we sell ourselves short.
Right.
The best ROI you can get is your education.
Mm-hmm.
And are there people out there that will take advantage of, don't really do the business, and will sell you a $40,000 program and send you off to some college kid in a cubicle who doesn't know what the heck is? Yes. But if you work with people who actually do the business, know what they're doing, and have on a great program at a fair price, depending on what level you're at, it is worth its weight in gold.
Amen, brother.
Mic drop. Number 2.
Well, and we're getting close to the end of our show, so I would love for you to share what learning opportunities you offer people. If someone wants to work with you and learn more from you, from all of your awesome hundreds of homes experiences, what opportunities do they have?
So kind of piggybacking off that last comment, we spend $50,000 to $60,000 a year on coaching, education, masterminds. So we practice what we preach, basically. But we have a couple programs. We have House Flipping Formula. That is our flagship program. It's usually around a couple $1,000s. You go to houseflippingformula.com. It is not currently open, but if you let us know that you are interested, we will get you information on that as it reopens. 7-Figure Flipping is our high-end coaching program. I'm just going to say the price. It's $25,000. So if you're not a serious investor, you actually have to apply for that program and have to be making close to a 6-figure income in real estate, have to be doing deals, have to have experience. The goal is to take you from 6 to 7 figures. It's not for everyone at all, just for people who are serious about the business. What else is there? Was there something else?
You have an event coming up.
Oh, that's right.
I'm super excited to come.
That's right.
So tell about the event.
We have our first day event, Flip Hacking Live, October 6th, 7th, and 8th in San Diego. You can go to fliphackinglive.com to get tickets. We really are almost sold out. I'm actually working right now. I told Kyle, I said, I need exact numbers today. And then I'm working with my event coordinator to see how we can rearrange seating to fit more people. Because it was crazy. We sold out in the first couple months from the seating plan that we had, and so we had to change it up. So I'm excited.
Of course, because your material is so awesome, and I love that you practice what you preach and what you teach. That is huge. My heart just breaks for people that, you've heard it too. They spend 40, 50 grand. They get the kitchen cubicle, and they come to me and they're like, well, I don't really know where to start now. What do I do? And so the awesome thing about Justin is, he's got a whole team doing it. So it's awesome.
Well, you're too kind. And Holly she didn't ask me to say this, but she is amazing. I've known her for several years now. And her husband, they are rock stars. So you guys are in the right place for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I've got a whole different model than you. I think I work a lot harder at it.
Your houses are beautiful. I see your houses and I'm like, I don't know how she did that, but it sure looks good.
It's a different model than yours, that's for sure. I'm definitely more hands-on and breaking the nails and getting the scars, doing stuff. With the staging. That's all I do is the staging. But it's fun. I was in the most disgusting hoarder house where I actually feared for my safety a couple of hours ago.
Oh, man.
The people had removed the subflooring upstairs and were trying to put wood flooring. It was a DIY gone way bad.
Oh, my God.
So, you're up for adventure. That's for sure. When you say choose your adventure, I had an adventure today.
Yeah,
I escaped without my foot going through the floor. But,
I wish I could say I've seen any of my houses recently. I haven't.
I'm glad you can say you haven't.
Totally different model.
Got a whole different model, and I love it. I admire that. Well, thank you so much for your time. What would be your final words of advice? Let's have advice for new people. So someone new, maybe educated, not educated. What's your advice for them?
My advice, if you are new, is set a goal to make an offer on a house as fast as you can. I don't care if it gets accepted. It's not going to get accepted. Throw that out the window. But I find that 90% of people who want to get in this business never even get to that hurdle, never even get to that point. So if you can get there, you're like 90% of the way. Be prepared for failure. Be prepared for all kinds of stuff. Failure is the door, the portal to success. So you have to go through it. If you're avoiding it, go for it. And when I say failure, I don't mean losing money. I just mean rejection, people telling you no, not getting offers, not getting this immediate success that you want, things being harder than you think. So the more of that you get, you should be celebrating and being like, I am on the way, I'm on my path, I'm going to make this happen. So.
I love it. And that's so powerful for people to hear, because they'll see the infomercials and the stuff that they think, oh, we make one offer and we make $100,000. It's so easy. Yeah. You just barely do one little thing and the money drops from the sky. And that is not the case. It's a lot of hard work, as you and I both know, as we can both testify of. I mean, it is hard work, but well worth it. So thank you again, Justin. You're awesome. Thanks for sharing all your stuff. We'll have all of Justin's contact info in the show notes, and your website, once again, is houseflippingformula.com, right?
Oh, well, that's one of them. House Flipping HQ is my main site. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to
go to either one,
if you want to get information from him and his team, houseflippinghq.com, and they will definitely get in touch with you. Well, thank you, Justin. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Holly.
Hey there, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like it and click subscribe to get notified of more videos. And you can go to hardhatholly.com for a free download on secrets to finding great deals.